View of the week's markets at 8:30 in the morning, all on WHOW, AM, FM, and streamed online.
At SIU Center for Family Medicine in Lincoln, our team makes it easy to get your flu shot and protect the people you care about most. Book your appointment now by clicking the SIU Family Medicine icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Hart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as by Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. Animal control and intergovernmental agreements have been the topic of discussion for the DeWitt County Public Safety Committee in recent months. At Thursday night's meeting, the committee continued discussion over the animal control budget and how revenue can be increased. Animal Control Administrator Grace Moore was asked by Chair Megan Myers to determine what percentage of the animals that they take in were from Clinton. She stated that it's roughly 70%.
One of the things I did ask Grace to do, just to get a better idea, is to take a look and see. We all know that costs have gone up, but my question was how many of those animals are coming from the county and how many from the municipalities. And I think one of the numbers you were able to pull was for Clinton.
Yeah, Clinton was about roughly 70%, probably give or take. But yeah, 75% of the animals that we get come from Clinton specifically. And then everything else is kind of between 2 and 10%, I think, for everywhere else within the county.
And a part of the agreement with the municipalities is that we're able to collect the $100 fee. But in how many cases do you feel that we're able to collect any fee on some of those animals?
We try to do as much as we can as far as that goes, but I would assume you're talking about like the citations and stuff or for what?
Correct. I know, like, for example, like if you get a stray animal that comes from Clinton, you can't collect anything because it's a stray. Nobody. But like in the case where they had 40 dogs, have we been able to collect anything from those?
No. There's some that we have, and there's things that I will send follow-up, like reminder letters and say you've got until this day until we forward it. And we have gotten some of that back more recently, but it's definitely not the numbers that we would like to see.
John Wirtz brought up the topic of surrender fees, which were not increased when the committee performed the animal control cost study recently. One concern is that if fees are increased, people will stop surrendering animals and will rather just release them into the wild.
Have we raised our surrender fees any? I know that was something that came up in the cost study.
Yeah, that's a good question, John, because we did, I believe, raise some things, but we should look at that again because I can't remember. I know the cost study said that we had the ability to raise a few, but I'm not sure if we took advantage of all those. So we should go back and take a look.
Are we allowed to raise those fees with the contract with Clinton since, I mean, is that tied in for another however many years since they renewed last year?
Well, their contract's in place now for another 2.5, but I mentioned this to Joe, and I think it might be reasonable for us to go back to municipalities and say, hey, look, we need to maybe adjust this.
I think it's surrender, like I said, I apologize, computer wasn't working, but there was one that was as high as $300 for a surrender. So, I mean, that was high. That was highest for us.
I think with surrender fees being that high, I think we'd see more of an influx in stray animals and animals being dumped, and then that's just
no doubt.
more of a burden that we're going to have to take on regardless.
Wirtz reiterated that animal control is a governmental service and is not designed to be a moneymaker for the county. That does not, however, mean that they have an unlimited budget. He says that things need to be kept under control.
We're never going to make money. It's never made money, but we've got to try to keep it under control. And we all know the city of Clinton is the majority of the work that's going out there. So, I'd say looking at the surrender is a big thing. I'm not sure how the surrenders are written up. Somebody surrenders it, we just say we're going to keep the dog forever until it's adopted, or is there something in there in accordance to the animal control ordinance with the state to follow their lead?
So
How are we doing that?
I would have to kind of look back to see what the state says, but I don't think there's anything specific about anything pertaining to how long we keep an animal for. And I think as it's written in our own ordinances, there's not, it says minimum of 30 days. It says it's give a maximum of how long we keep anything for.
While animal control does operate at a loss for the county, the committee commended Moore for a job well done when it comes to following up on fines and fees and creating a significant increase in revenue for the department. The committee decided that they would revisit the cost study once again to make sure they are taking advantage of all the opportunities they can to recoup animal control expenses. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, Clinton grocery store owner discusses Thanksgiving food prices. The Clinton Fire Department responded to an early morning fire on Thursday. Around 7 a.m., crews were called out to the 1600 block of East Washington Street, where, upon arrival, first responders found a one-story home with heavy fire in the attic. Firefighters were able to swiftly knock down the flames and created holes in the roof for ventilation to suppress the rest of the smoke and hotspots. Crews from Clinton, Kenny, Maroa, and Wapella fire departments were on scene. As of the time of this story, Clinton fire officials were still on scene investigating with the state fire marshal's office. No injuries were reported, and no one was in the home at the time of the incident. 2 cats were rescued from the home. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Closeout time is here for a new Chevrolet. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. Yes, we have a good selection of 25 Silverados remaining in regular and crew cab models with gas or diesel engines. Some with utility beds and dual roof wheels. Also see our remaining Colorados, Trailblazers, even our full-size Suburban and Tahoes, all priced to move out. See our 25 inventory today at BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
News time is 18 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Thanksgiving is going to be as affordable as it has been in many years. That's the message from Clinton Save-A-Lot owner Dave Jackson, who indicates after inflation, as out of control as he's seen in his 40-plus years in the grocery business, prices have stabilized, and he is predicting a very affordable Thanksgiving basket.
The media can talk all day long about how unaffordable things are and how high inflation is. Inflation was just in 25, 30% for years up until 2025. It was the most out of control thing I've ever seen in my life, and I've done this for 40 years. And inflation has come to a complete halt. There's weeks we have no price changes at all. In past years, there would be hundreds of increases week after week after week, and an item would go up, and then 6 months later, it'd go up again. So we are in a stagnant inflation situation in the grocery business, and Thanksgiving is actually lower than it's been in many, many years. Turkey price, we don't have it yet, what our retail is going to be, but we'll be the lowest in the market. We don't get into the games of giving it away, then charging you more for everything else. That's what everyday low price is. We don't play those kind of shell games. Thanksgiving is going to be extremely affordable this year. And like I said, inflation has come to a halt on food, again, with the exception of beef.
According to Jackson, inflation was out of control for the last 4 to 5 years, and things have finally stabilized. He calls Thanksgiving food prices as low as they've been in many years.
The Thanksgiving basket, as they call it, but the assortment of things that people typically buy is lower than it's been in many, many years. You know, contrary to what you keep hearing about things being less affordable, food has slowed down to almost a complete halt in things going up, with the exception of beef. And beef is something that, you know, if the herd is small and demand is high, there is nothing anyone can do to correct the situation, you know, until the numbers get larger. But with the prices going up in beef, demand will slow down, and then eventually the price will go down. But with the exception of beef, everything else is, you know, dead in its tracks as far as inflation. So
Save-A-Lot has seen staples like milk and eggs return to normal levels, and Jackson touts as low prices compared to most grocery stores in the area. A DeWitt County nonprofit is calling on the community to help support its efforts to provide those less fortunate in our community with a quality Christmas. On the WHOW Morning Show Thursday, Sean Horvey with DeWitt County Toys for Tots told the Hart Media Group from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Tractor Supply in Clinton, you can drop off toys in a friendly competition among DeWitt County first responders.
Yes, so Saturday this is going to be our second year of doing this. Basically, fill a fire truck, but with a twist. So we're doing a twist. I did a twist last year with it. So fire, police, EMS, and then DeWitt County Animal Shelter is going to be out this year. So everybody's going to have their own box. And what we're going to do is doing a fun event. I have a big shadow box that has a bunch of toys for tots. I call it the traveling trophy. We will have event there 10 to 2 on Saturday at Tractor Supply. Everybody will come out, they'll put toys in the box and everything. And then whoever has the most toys at the end of the day will get to have that trophy.
There you go.
Last year, Kenny won it. The fire department won it. Fire department won it. But I sent it to Kenny last year, so we'll see who takes it home this year.
According to Horvey, older kids, ages 10 and up, tend to be more difficult to buy for, and he is hoping the community will focus its giving on those older youth.
The only thing that any toys would work, the older kids are really hard to buy for. And I really don't see a lot of toys coming in for the older kids, 9 and up. I do from 0 to 18 years of old, just because some kids still live at home with mom and dad. So I take care of 0 to 18. Go get them toys, please. The littles are easy to get. It's just the older kids I have a really big problem getting. The older kids, you know, they're into, you know, Nerf stuff and, you know, bigger items.
Horvey is focused on keeping much of his shopping local. He has drop-offs set up at several locations around Clinton.
I have boxes out at like O'Reilly's and stuff, and the just companies around town. I try to keep everything local, especially when you guys put stuff into us. We want to put it right back in the community. So one year, the first year that I took over, we went into Walgreens, and I pretty much bought Walgreens out of toys and everything, just because we don't have a lot of other counties around us. They have Walmarts, they have stuff like that. Here, we just don't have it. So we have Tractor Supply, Dollar General, Walgreens, stuff like that. I tried to put that stuff back in there if I could. But the way that helps me, if I can get people to give me the older stuff, then I can take the younger ones and spread it out through all the little shops that we have.
Find the DeWitt County Toys for Tots on Facebook or visit toysfortots.org and find the DeWitt County tab under Request a Toy. We'll have more with Horvey next week on getting signed up for this year's program at the Hart Media Group. As the longest government shutdown in history ends, one Illinois congressman has his eyes on January. That's when the next government shutdown could occur, and Eric Sorensen believes the next shutdown could last just as long.
I'll be honest with you, and it's no secret that it's one of the worst things about Congress, I'm going to tell you, is that both sides wait until the very last minute to start negotiations because you don't want to show your hand, right? And we've talked about that before. What had happened this time, and why this time was different, is nobody played any cards before the government shut down. Before we had a Thelma and Louise moment where we went right off the cliff before anybody started talking to each other. Okay, and then that put us in this spot where the government was already shut down. The Republicans, the door was closed. They didn't want to deal with any of us Democrats. And so what were we to do? But now let's also understand, since that precedent has occurred, we now run the risk that it's going to happen again. And so do I have faith that we're going to be able to get this done in 70 days? No, because I haven't gotten a bipartisan deal from the Republicans in this entire Congress. So yes, I do worry about the fact that as soon as we get into a new year, we're going to be going through all of this again.
Sorensen reports that the current continuing resolution only lasts until January 30th, at which point lawmakers would have to restart negotiations. The Illinois Farm Bureau annual meeting is less than a month away. Among the policy discussions will be issues surrounding data centers, says Illinois Farm Bureau Vice President Evan Hulteen.
That's a perfect example of some of what's a up and coming hot topic, right? As these data centers move in to areas, and not only are we, talking about in that space, land lease agreements or purchase agreements for private property owners, but these data centers utilize a lot of water to keep things cool, for them to work appropriately. And so, we had members submit a policy based on water use, and kind of just taking in a fuller picture of what does that footprint of that data center really mean for the county or the municipality, or just the local area and the neighbors and farmers. And so I think that's a perfect example of what some of these submittals we see come in from time to time that just pop up as a new issue, an emerging issue that our members are having concerns about or issues with. And so I think the data center piece is going to be an interesting conversation, because we all know at the end of the day too, we need these data centers, right? I mean, more and more of our lives are moving to the cloud, and but how do we utilize that technology in a way that appropriately utilizes resources in the areas they land?
The IFB annual meeting is December 6th through the 9th in Chicago. What are some of the changes noted for U.S. drought coverage from the end of September to mid-November? Now for your local obituaries. Galen D. Lichtenwalter, 95, of Clinton, passed away at 10:58 a.m. Friday, October 31st at Goldwater Care in Clinton. Graveside services will be at a later date at Oak Park Cemetery in Clinton, with Pastor Darrell Howard officiating. Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton is in charge of arrangements. Memorials may be directed to the Clinton United Methodist Church. Robert Keith Coons, 76, of Clinton, passed away at 8:13 a.m. November 9th at his family residence in Clinton. Graveside services will be 10 a.m. Tuesday, November 18th at Camp Butler National Cemetery in Springfield, with Scott Marsh officiating and full military honors. A celebration of Keith's life will be 12 noon to 2 p.m. Tuesday, November 18th at the Clinton Country Club. The family has entrusted Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton with arrangements. Memorials may be directed to Texas Christian Church or Little Galilee Christian Camp. Gene C. Taylor, 96, of Clinton, passed away at 9:10 a.m. November 8th at the Ark of Normal. Services will be 11 a.m. Monday, November 17th at the Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton, with Pastor Jonathan Rober officiating. Memorials may be directed to the Alzheimer's Association. Get news anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. In Ukraine, an overnight attack by the Russians lasted for several hours. The barrage included 430 drones and 18 missiles, killing now at least 6 people and wounding dozens. President Zelensky says the attack caused significant damage to the capital. Officials in Gaza say Israel has returned the bodies of 15 Palestinians. They were returned after Hamas militants handed over the body of one of the last 4 remaining Israeli hostages. The Pentagon's most advanced aircraft carrier is expected to reach the waters off Venezuela in the coming days. The USS Gerald R. Ford is being deployed after the Trump administration said the U.S. is in an armed conflict with drug cartels. 3 Chinese astronauts have returned from their nation's space station after a 9-day delay. This is SRN News.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. In Class 2A quarterfinal action, Tri-Valley goes to Wilmington Saturday at 5. At the same time, El Paso Gridley hosts Farmington. Flora is going to Maroa-Forsyth Saturday at 2. And Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond is at Westville Saturday at 2. In Class 3A quarterfinal action, Williamsville hosts Tolono Unity Saturday at 2, and Saturday at 1, Vandalia goes to St. Joseph Ogden. In Class 4A quarterfinal action, third-seeded Rochester hosts Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin Saturday at 4. In Class 5A, first-seeded Washington goes to New Lenox Providence Catholic Saturday at 1. Saturday at 3, Oak Forest hosts Peoria. In Class 6A quarterfinal action, Burbank St. Lawrence goes to Dunlap Saturday at 3. The Maroa-Forsyth Lady Trojans basketball team returned some key players to an otherwise young squad. Head coach Selena Fink says last season's loss to Sullivan in the regional championship left a sour taste in the team's mouth. And she says this year her girls are up for the challenge of returning to and winning the regional championship.
We do. We have 2 big scorers coming back, and we have some kids that are going to fill in. Hard to replace what we lost, but we're going to do our best, and I think these kids are up for it. Did leave a little sour taste in our mouth last year, getting beat by Sullivan in the regional championship. So I think these kids are on mission again to get back to that regional championship and then see what we can do. We get after it. We hustle. We play hard. If you tell us we can't, then we're going to get out there and show you that we can. I think just our hustle ability, we really feed well off of Avery Braden, who gets after it, and we just have that vibe. And when she's into that, the rest of them pick up on that, and it's just fun to watch.
Avery Braden is a senior on her way to a historic season at the high school. While she is focused on the team's goal of surpassing the 20-win mark once again, she could break the school's all-time scoring record.
Well, my dad owns a gym, so I've been putting in a ton of work before the season started, and then just getting after it at practice with my teammates and getting down the chemistry has been a big part of it. For the team, hopefully another 20-win season, hopefully another regional title, and then for me, breaking the all-scoring record for our school. No, I really try not to think about it. Just let the game go, and if it happens, it happens. We brought back a couple starters. We graduated a ton of seniors, but I think we have what we need to get another regional title.
Senior Adeline Simmons is looking to carry the success and momentum she gained during the volleyball season into the basketball season. She feels that the transition between the two sports is seamless.
Oh, we had a very good volleyball season this year with a regional championship and being a part of the Sweet 16 this year. Oh yeah, we're looking for a regional title this year for sure. It's been kind of crazy. There's been a few of us girls who are coming right from volleyball, and I think it's going good, just jumping right into it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty seamless. Our volleyball coach does a good job at keeping us conditioned, so it was easy to swing right into it. We worked on basketball all throughout June this summer. Probably my defense. It's really picked up throughout high school. We focus a lot on defense, so.
The speed and hustle of the team have been on full display during practice. Senior Relinda Balashi wants to use her energy to hype up the team this season and wants to play selfless basketball.
It's been pretty good so far. We've just been hustling, getting after it, trying to get ready for this season, and a lot of moving pieces. We're all doing pretty good. Just bring energy, do what I can for my team, be reliable, help out other players when they need it. Just about that. Just keep working hard, do what we can right every practice, keep our bodies healthy, keep moving, and just follow that all throughout the season.
The Lady Trojans kick off the season on Thursday, November 20th, when they take on the Mount Pulaski Lady Hilltoppers in Maroa. Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears have produced this season yet another example of how good things can indeed come in the NFL for those who are willing to wait. The Minnesota Vikings are in the thick of their test of patience, just 4 games in with J.J. McCarthy. After McCarthy carried the Vikings to a comeback victory in the opener at Chicago with a league record 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns by a quarterback in his debut, he sprained his ankle during the following week. The pause button on his development had to be pushed for 5 more games, after knee surgery kept him out of his entire rookie year. McCarthy's latest return has predictably been up and down. He'll aim to stay unbeaten against NFC North opponents when the Vikings host the Bears on Sunday. The Vikings poured free agent money into the offensive and defensive lines with the belief Coach Kevin O'Connell and his staff could bring McCarthy along on the fly and still field a contender. His latest setback, combined with other early injuries to key players and some unexpected struggles at other positions, complicated the plan. McCarthy has 7 turnovers in 4 games with 65.8 passer rating. That ranks second worst in the NFL among the 46 quarterbacks in the league who've started at least 1 game. After a mostly rocky rookie season, Ben Johnson came along, having burnished his resume as the offensive coordinator for a high-scoring division foe in Detroit. Johnson has clearly had a positive influence. Williams has only 4 turnovers in 6 wins in 9 games. Through the 6 teams the Bears have beaten to have a combined record of 15, 41, and 1. They've enjoyed 4 fourth-quarter comeback wins. Johnson has favored the run in his play calling and to help keep the pressure off his young passer, but in cases where the Bears have been behind and Williams has needed to repeatedly drop back and let the ball rip, he has clearly begun to develop a rhythm in the pocket. Even better for the Bears, Williams has played in every game, only yielding a handful of mop-up snaps to backup Tyson Bagent late in blowouts. After keeping the ball 6 times for 58 yards and a touchdown against the Vikings in the opener, Williams had downshifted his running game until recently. He had 63 yards and a score last week on 8 attempts. After the Vikings offense took 8 false start penalties last week in the loss to Baltimore, the most in the NFL by a home team in 16 years, McCarthy and his teammates spent extra time refining the cadence of his pre-snap calls in an attempt to get everyone back in sync. Released by both Houston and Baltimore this season, Bears cornerback C.J. Gardner-Johnson has settled in quickly with 3 sacks in 2 games and a veteran presence for a secondary missing 2-time Pro Bowl pick Jalen Johnson and another regular cornerback, Kyler Gordon, to injuries. Gardner-Johnson has 18 interceptions and 7 sacks in 7 seasons while appearing in games for 5 different teams. He also had a pattern of costly, unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. Gardner-Johnson played his first 3 seasons in New Orleans, coached by current Bears defensive coordinator Dennis Allen. With Detroit, Johnson was the offensive coordinator. A 5-game losing streak stands to crush Maryland Terrapins' bowl hopes as the Terrapins visit Illinois Fighting Illini on Saturday. Maryland needs to find success in a hurry with games at Champaign, home against number 18 Michigan, and at Ford Field against Michigan State. since surrendering a 20-0 second half lead against the visiting Washington Huskies on October 4th and losing 24-20, the Terrapins have been reeling. They suffered a 35-20 loss at Rutgers last Saturday. The losing skid fed public discourse about Loxley's future, now in his 7th season and sporting a 16-40 record against the Big Ten. Loxley said no when asked if he felt he was coaching for his job over the final 3 games. His contract runs through 2027. Things are looking brighter for Brett Bielema at Illinois. The Fighting Illini are coming off a bye with a trip to Wisconsin sandwiched between home games with Maryland and Northwestern. Quarterback Luke Altmaier led Illinois to a 35-13 rout of Rutgers to snap a 2-game skid before the open week. He threw for 235 yards and ran for 88. He had a career-high 5 touchdowns, 4 passing and 1 rushing, and was named the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week for the 2nd time this season. Wide receiver Hank Beatty had his 3rd touchdown reception of the season. He has 49 catches for 730 yards for an Illinois offense that's averaging 33.1 points per game, which would be the highest total in school history ahead of their 32.5 average in 2010. Illinois is postseason eligible in back-to-back seasons for the first time since 2010-11 season. The team is 10-2 at home over the past 2 seasons. Loxley served as the offensive coordinator at Illinois from 2005 to 2008. Maryland trailed 21-17 at the half against Rutgers last Saturday, but gained only 83 total yards in the second half, managing just a 44-yard field goal by Sean O'Hare. A bright spot was Malik Washington, who had a career-high 164 rushing yards on just 8 attempts, setting a school record for rushing yards by a freshman quarterback. That included a 73-yard first-quarter touchdown run. Maryland leads the Big Ten and ranks 2nd nationally with 17 interceptions and has at least 1 pick in 7 straight games. The Terrapins led the all-time series 2-1. The teams last met October 14, 2023 at Maryland, and Altmaier passed for 2 touchdowns in a 27-24 win. Get sports anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Lots of sunshine today with daytime highs approaching 73. Winds out of the southwest 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows level off around 58. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 72. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Currently 45.
Let's check Ag News on the RFD.